Alright, this match was probably the most intense duel that I played in Master Duel to date. So this is in Diamond 1, level 43. So this guy knows what he's doing, most likely. But I found it a little odd that they chained Max C to our Pot of Prosperity. But regardless, I mean, that's fine, I guess. So to reveal, we are looking for either a Dimensional Fissure or something to get us to map. So either like Terraforming, Advent of Adventure, or map itself. So we're actually going to grab the duality off of the prosperity, dig a little bit deeper, and unfortunately we don't get anything. Now the deck is shuffled, so everything's kind of randomized. To start off, we are obviously going with the Robina because we had that in hand to start, so no problem there. The opponent does have the turn 0 play in the Havness, so they're going to summon and mill 3. They get a Shuffler and a Rainbow Bridge of Salvation with the Tortoise. So this is actually okay because they're going to be forced to use the Keldo to put the Tortoise back if they want to actually activate Rainbow Bridge to search for Field Spell, which is what they do here off of the resolution of Eaglin. That's what's going to happen. So that forces one of their shufflers out, which is good. Our Eaglin's going to resolve and we're going to get an Empin to hand. Okay, we're going to double tribute, bring out Empin, and with Empin we're actually going to search for map. And the reason is because we're going to then activate map, reveal the Toucan, banish another Empin, and bring, summon the Toucan, bring the Empin that we banished off map back to hand, and then tribute the Empin on field right now, and the Toucan for that Empin. Now, this is both good and bad. It's bad because, we have 3 of our tribute monsters in rotation, which means Eaglin can now only search for the Ryza. That's the only thing left in our deck. But we do have map on field now, and we're going to get trap off of this Eaglin, or Empin, so that's good. However, the first Empin is now in the graveyard, and this can be disrupted by a Grave Shuffler. So if we try to summon Stree to banish it, they just chain a Grave Shuffler, put the Empin back into the deck, which normally would be fine because then we can get it back with Eaglin, but the problem is the Stree will fizzle. So we summon Stree, the target gets removed from the graveyard back into the deck, the Stree doesn't resolve, we can't summon off Stree. So that's a huge problem. So this Empin, we have to consider it kind of unusable, assuming, or that's, until the opponent gets a, it'll be unusable when the opponent gets a Grave Shuffler. So just going through the standard motions here, we are going to set Trap and Book of Moon. The opponent, as expected, activates Rainbow Bridge of Salvation, grabs the Tortoise that they shuffle back into their deck, as well as the Pearl Rhino. Okay, they're going to draw for turn. We know what 2 of their cards are. We'll see how this goes. They don't start with Pearl Rhino, they start with activating Sharon, pitching Kelbeck. Okay, that's bad. The 3 mill off of Sharon is another Shuffler, so instantly turns off Stree, a Scream, which they can search a trap for, and a Max C, which is actually good for them because Max C is a dead card. I guess it can be used to summon Elf, but yeah, it's not useful. So these are actually really good mills for them. They're going to go ahead and activate the Kelbeck and the Scream, and they're going to mill 5. Okay, we stop here to take a look at what they mill. So they mill the other Grave Shuffler. So now they have Mudora and Keldo. Remember, they already used 1 Keldo during our turn to get the Tortoise back. A Talents and a Foolish Burial Goods don't do anything. Another Scream, which doesn't do anything. But they do mill a Name and Havness, so this is going to get them to their Kikalos. Okay, we lose a D-Fissure, an Eaglin, a Stree. These are all bad to lose. We don't want to lose these, but again, we do play 2 Strees, so it's not the end of the world. We lose Advent as well, which is bad. We definitely want that. But the good thing is we do lose the Terraforming, which is good because we already have map in hand. So the opponent does grab Soliac off of the Scream. And now they're going to start new Chain Link, Havness, put back the Tortoise and the Havness, and bring out their Kikalos. So the thought process here now has to be a little advanced. We're going to activate Dreaming Town on summon of Kikalos. So Kikalos will search for a TEARLAMENTS card. We're going to summon the Eaglin, chain block it with the Toucan, and search for Ryza. The opponent should know that this is going to get banished and flip their field face down, which will prevent them from sending Kikalos to mill 5. So they're going to activate one of their Grave Shufflers as soon as this resolves to put it back into the deck before I contribute summon. So this is going to force out one of their Shufflers. And this is one of the instances where Ryza actually can come in handy, because there's different layers here, right? Dreaming Town to Shuffler to search for Ryza to tribute for the Ryza, so that instead of flipping the Kikalos face down, we're actually going to opt to spin the Kit Kalos back into the extra deck. So they do search Heartbeat off of the Kit Kalos, so they still get their search off the summon, which isn't great, but it's better than them resolving to send the Kit Kalos to mill 5. So the opponent is going to put the Terraforming Brick back into my deck, as well as the Trap card, as expected. Now, they brought Heartbeat, so thinking this through a little bit more, right? This tells me that they need their normal summon, and they don't want to trigger map. So they're going to Heartbeat map. Okay, so keep that in mind. And they've already used Halfness. These are the things you have to keep track of in this matchup. Okay, summon Robina. And this was probably a misplay. I searched for the Stree here, where the Stree has no utility right now. Like, was I thinking maybe, you know, he's not going to use Heartbeat on map, and he's going to normal summon, and I can activate map and get my birds into rotation. And, you know, Stree would just fizzle anyways. I should have brought DD Crow to disrupt one of the two names remaining, because they can still use Sharon and they can still use Merly to fuse. Or I could disrupt a Rhino Heart summon back, for example. So searching for Stree here might have been a misplay. Regardless, we do summon the Ryza, and the goal here is we're going to target the other Grave Shuffler, the Keldo. And this is going to force them to either use the Keldo. This is maybe why I brought Stree. This is probably what I was thinking. Either force them to use the Keldo now, or let it get spun back into the deck, and when they activate Pearl Rhino, it's going to shuffle the deck, right? So they won't necessarily mill that Keldo right away. That way, if they do normal summon, my map will trigger, and I can summon Stree, banish the Empin, and then summon Tuka and bring Empin back. But again, they have Heartbeat, so they were smart, they brought Heartbeat. So, you know, trying to analyze the game state, very complex. But they are going to let it resolve. They're not going to use the Shuffler because they know it's their only Keldo remaining. And the Ryza would still resolve. As long as the Ryza has targets, if those targets get moved, the effect still resolves. Okay, so now they activate Pearl Rhino and they bring Sharon. So this tells me they're going to do some play with Rhino Heart to send that Sharon. And sure enough, that's exactly what they're doing. So they activate Heartbeat, spin map back into the deck, pitch Rhino Heart effect, summon back, pitch the Sharon. So this is two names that they're going to use now. They've used Havness in the beginning to bring the Kit Kalos first, and they've just dumped Sharon to fuse. And now they're going to dump again from the deck, which is most likely going to be the Merly. So they're going to go through all three names at this point. Now the good thing is they have nothing to fuse with in the grave, and they have no more shufflers in the grave, because this is how we've kind of crafted the match with what resources we did have to play with on our side of the field. So this is going to limit the opponent's options here. Now, I was thinking like, okay, if the opponent was smart, they're going to bring Kaleido Heart first, and then Kit Kalos. If they bring Kit Kalos first, Planet will pop. They can pop either the Empin or the face down card. If they choose the face down card, I'll just activate it and book the Kit Kalos. So I end up in the same spot I was before. If they bring Kaleido Heart first in defense, they do Planet Pop, Empin, Kaleido Heart spin, Book of Moon. Then they bring Kit Kalos, and nothing can threaten the Kit Kalos because the field is clear. So let's see what the opponent opts to do. Off Sharon, sure enough, they do indeed go for Kaleido Heart. So this was the smarter play. And then Rhino Heart sends Merly. So new chain link. Okay, Kaleido Heart target Book of Moon, Planet Pop, Empin, Merly to fuse, most likely for Kit Kalos. So we're forced to use Book because we don't want it spun back into the deck. So we're just going to book the Kaleido. This is going to force them to, well, not force them to do anything really, but yeah, in order to keep the Solik live that they brought to their hand in the beginning, they're going to need to keep this Kit Kalos face up. Okay, so Planet Pop, Empin, okay, Kit Kalos in attack mode, which is not threatened by Empin anymore. Hit me for 2800, okay. Main phase 2, we know they have Solik. So analyzing this game state right now, and there's a reason why I didn't resign, because you might be thinking like, you have nothing. They're going to Solik your bird, you have nothing. Not necessarily. Again, just like with counting cards, look at your graveyard. Okay, I didn't mill, or they didn't mill a evenly matched. I play 3. I'm going to draw for turn, and I'm going to extravagance. So I'm going to have 3 potential draws to try to get an evenly matched, which could make all the difference. Because unless they have Crime as their other card, we know one is Solik. If Crime is the other card, we lose, unless we draw two evenly matched. But evenly matched will win us the game basically, because either they'll lose permanently either the Kikalos or the Kaleido Heart, but their Solak won't be live. They'll, if they keep Solak, they have no tier name to send off of it. They can't do anything, right? Their whole play at this point, because they've used all 3 names, there's no point in sending Kaleido, or I guess they can't even send Kikalos because they don't have a monster to summon off of it. So they can't even get a Shuffler in grave. Even though they've gone through all 3 names, they might have still wanted to send Kikalos in order to just mill a Shuffler in the graveyard. Because right now, our Stree is live. We can start summon Stree, banish the Empin, summon Toucan, bring Empin back. Assuming we play around like an Imperm or a Solak, right? So this is how like the thinking goes. We top deck Duality, that's fantastic. Gonna go ahead and activate Extravagance. And we're gonna be able to dig 3 more deep to hopefully get into an evenly matched. But we do draw one off of the Extravagance. Duality into Unexplored Winds, we'll take that as well because we haven't milled in Unexplored Winds either. So this card will out whatever card they end up keeping on the field with evenly matched. So yeah, even if they had Crime, they don't have a card in hand, right? I think Crime has to send from the hand. So this is like, yeah, this is perfect. So the only thing that could beat us here is Solemn Judgment, which obviously Tearlament doesn't play. So right away, as soon as we activate the Evenly, the opponent scoops it up. Really intense match. It may not seem that way, it was only 3 turns long, but there was a lot of thinking that went into that match. I think it was over 15 minutes long for 3 turns. It was crazy. So yeah, that was my most intense duel, in my opinion, that I've played so far. Hopefully you enjoyed this commentary and this analysis and my review, maybe some misplays that I made. But in the end, that's why we construct the decks the way we do. The deck building is very important. Obviously, the opponent had a very good deck. It was very consistent. You saw them mill really nicely, and they were able to get all their names in rotation for fusions. We have the deck built so that, the consistency was there, even though we didn't draw into the D-Fissure off of the pots, but we were able to bank on that evenly matched, and the odds were in our favor that we would pull into 1 out of the 5 cards that we were able to dig into on turn 3. So that's going to wrap up the game. Thank you for watching. If you've made it this far, Quantum is out.